Ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Friday Football Flex. I know, it's Saturday, and I am making a Friday Football Flick, but I wanted to end the year on a strong note, and I wanted to give you guys a great video. So in this video, we're going to talk about how different teams mismanaged their quarterback position when it came to injuries or simply because of poor quarterback play. The NFL has seen 14 different teams that have started 2 or more quarterbacks this season. The AFC has had the most quarterback changes of any conference. So for the first time ever on this channel, I am going to use a tier list and rank how teams have handled a change at the quarterback position. So for the S tier, the best tier, I have teams with good contingency plans with the quarterback position this year, starting with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Dak Prescott got injured in the first game against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and many sore loser Dallas Cowboys fans were ready to write off the Dallas Cowboys, but Cooper Rush went 4-1 and gave the Dallas Cowboys a foundation for Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott, despite throwing a lot of interceptions, has won enough games for the Dallas Cowboys to go to the postseason for the second consecutive year. Next, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I like the balance between Gardner Minshew and Jalen Hurts. You know, Jalen Hurts, I know, has been injured for one game, and he may not play this next game, but Gardner Minshew actually looks very good in that offense. I like Nick Sirianni's system because Gardner Minshew was moving up and down the field, and despite him losing to the Dallas Cowboys, I do trust Gardner Minshew if Jalen Hurts gets injured. So they belong in the S tier. The resilient San Francisco 49ers belong in this tier. One, DeMeco Ryans has given the 49ers a solid foundation with that defense. Not only that, I believe Kyle Shanahan should be the coach of the year because he has managed to accumulate 11 wins with 3 different quarterbacks. A lot of people did not believe in Trey Lance, and then Trey Lance eventually gets injured. Then a lot of people believed that Jimmy G was to save the season, and he played pretty decent this season, but as usual, he gets hurt. Now, unexpectedly, Brock Purdy, Mr. Relevant, which has become relevant, has not lost a game for the 49ers so far this season. So a lot of that has to do with coaching and being put in the right system. So the 49ers deserve to be in this tier because they still look dangerous no matter what quarterback they have under center. The next tier I have are teams that are ending the season strong with the third string quarterback. Now let's start with the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers were a dumpster fire in the beginning of the season. Baker Mayfield looked lost, then he gets injured and Matt Rule gets fired, and Steve Wilks inherits a dumpster fire of a team. But despite that and a bad division, he still has guided the Panthers to basically control their own destiny, and if they win these next 2 games, they can get into the playoffs. Not only that, he's found a good chemistry for Sam Darnold, run the ball and play good defense, which is a chemistry for most quarterbacks, but Sam Darnold has not played all season, and so far he has looked pretty decent when he has been under center. Not only that, PJ Walker has had some signature games, like one against the Atlanta Falcons and another game against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they blew out the Buccaneers by running the ball down their throat and playing great defense. So I give Steve Wilks a lot of credit for that. I believe that he deserves to be a head coach in this league. At least let's see how he is as a coach for a full season. Last time he was a head coach for a full season, it was with the dumpster fire Arizona Cardinals. So I believe Steve Wilks deserves a chance to have his own contingency plans together, his own type of style. So I'm looking forward to see that in the offseason. Next, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I know they are eliminated from the playoffs. They've had injuries. Their line has not played well this season, and they have played with multiple quarterbacks. But I like the recovery by Sean McVay by going out there and getting Baker Mayfield and not listening to the media about the negative things that they say about Baker Mayfield. And so far, Baker Mayfield is 2-1 as a Rams starter. Now, would the Rams keep Baker Mayfield to compete with Matthew Stafford or hold Matthew Stafford accountable? I highly doubt it, but these 3 games that Baker Mayfield has played in is giving him a foundation for the next team that he signs for. For the B tier, I have teams with quarterback controversies, and I'm going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Baltimore Ravens are a solid team to the point where Tyler Huntley can play and the Ravens can win a couple of games with him there. But a lot of people are saying that Lamar Jackson is going on strike because of his contract and etc. In my opinion, I believe that Lamar Jackson is trying to stay healthy as possible for the playoffs, and the playoffs is where Lamar Jackson will have the most leverage. Lamar Jackson has already proven that he is the best regular season quarterback in his draft class. If Lamar Jackson can get the Ravens to an AFC championship or the Super Bowl, he would have so much leverage over the Ravens organization that they will have no choice but to pay him. I highly doubt that he will miss the playoffs on purpose. Not only that, Lamar Jackson is extremely competitive. Plus, I am not a big fan of Tyler Huntley. I have no idea why he is so overrated. I mean, he is a 4th option for the Pro Bowl, and he has not even played a full season. I do not get that. And that also shows you what a joke the Pro Bowl is. With Tyler Huntley last year, I think they only won 1 game. And this year, the Ravens are averaging 12 points per game with Tyler Huntley, and they were averaging 23 points per game with Lamar Jackson. So when people say that Tyler Huntley is a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson, when people say that Tyler Huntley is better than Lamar Jackson, they are not real football fans. I repeat, they are not real football fans, and they do not watch the game. Now, the Ravens organization is smart for having an athletic quarterback back up Lamar Jackson so that they can run similar plays that they would run as if Lamar Jackson was in the game. A lot of teams have mobile quarterbacks, but their backup quarterback is a pocket passer, so they would have to change their entire offense for their backup quarterback. But the Ravens can still run the RPOs, the read options, and etc. with Tyler Huntley. The next team I have for the B list is the New York Jets. Now, nobody expected Zach Wilson to play this bad. We knew he would struggle, but he has played so poorly to the point where, I mean, it's like the Jets are cursed when it comes to picking quarterbacks second in the draft. People say that Lamar Jackson can't throw, but Zach Wilson struggles to throw for over 100 passing yards. And the worst part is, Zach Wilson is not a running quarterback. He's athletic, but he is not a running quarterback. And he has put Robert Saleh in a bad spot because I don't believe it was Robert Saleh's choice to draft Zach Wilson. I believe the New York Jets organization was pressured by the media to draft Zach Wilson, but the best thing that's came out of BYU was Steve Young. I mean, Robert Saleh has put together a really good defense, and he has a good contingency plan with Mike White, but Mike White can't stay healthy. So I just feel bad for Robert Saleh. And next year, hopefully, they can get a solid, competent quarterback, because if they do, they will be a big threat to the Buffalo Bills. The only thing that they are missing is a quarterback. They have a good running back, good receivers, a good young defense. They just need a competent quarterback. Surprisingly, the next team I have on the B list is the Cleveland Browns. I believe if the NFL kept their word and had Deshaun Watson suspended for 4 games instead of 12, the Browns would have won at least 8 to 10 games with Deshaun Watson. But the NFL tried to keep the feminists happy. I mean, I keep telling people, I think Deshaun Watson was set up by prostitutes by the Houston Texans. Because if you look up where any sex worker works, it's either a brothel or they call them massage parlors. That's the code name for a sex ring or etc. Do your research. But I digress. If Deshaun Watson was there mid-season, the Browns would have still been in the playoff race. And what more do Browns fans expect from Jacoby Brissett? So all I can say is I don't look at this Browns season as a failure. It was just clouded with a lot of controversy, especially in the offseason. For the C tier, we have teams that has benched their quarterbacks because of poor play, and I am going to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin is a great coach. He is known for having great contingency plans at the quarterback position. When Ben Roethlisberger was quarterbacking the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin always had the next quarterback ready. This year, though, with an exception, Mike Tomlin did not handle the quarterback situation properly. Maybe he was afraid of having a losing record for the first time in his career. So Mike Tomlin puts Mitchell Trubisky as the starting quarterback in the beginning of the season. That was a bad move because I believe Kenny Pickett should have always been the starter from the beginning. He played well in the preseason. Kenny Pickett is the future. We all know what Mitchell Trubisky is as a quarterback. He's a journeyman quarterback. I mean, if Mike Tomlin wanted to sit Kenny Pickett, he should have got a veteran quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo to start for a couple of years and then ease Kenny Pickett in. But he leaves Mitchell Trubisky in there for too long, and then Mitchell Trubisky eventually gets benched. So I did not like how Mike Tomlin handled that situation this year, but they still have a decent record, so that's why they're in the C tier. Next, for the C tier, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons has blown a lot of leads this year. They've had bad offensive play calling. I do believe that Arthur Smith will get a FedEx package with the papers leading to his firing. Even though Marcus Mariota got benched for poor play, I mean, he still should not get the blame for leads getting blown, poor offensive play calling, poor defense. I mean, the list goes on. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I really feel bad for Derek Carr. I mean, it seems like Derek Carr is that simp for that ex-toxic girlfriend, the Las Vegas Raiders, because they have screwed him over so many times and Derek Carr has stayed loyal. Now, yes, he is not the perfect quarterback, but can you blame him? He has never been in the perfect situation. And then, just like Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr leaves this team after he gets benched. It's weird how similar Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota are as far as their careers are concerned. I mean, I should make a video on how both of their careers are so similar, so many coincidences, but that's for another video and another time. Now, according to sources, it was the Raiders owner who wanted Derek Carr to be benched because I guess he wants to go in a different direction. But I mean, if they want to go in a different direction, they should start with defense, not even offense. Next, I have Zach Wilson. Yes, Zach Wilson benched himself. I'm not blaming the Jets for this. Zach Wilson is a grown man and he has poor body language. I am going to skip the D tier in this video and jump straight to the F tier. In the F tier, I am going to talk about teams that has poorly mismanaged their quarterbacks this season, and I'm going to start with the Washington Commanders. All Ron Rivera did this year was destroy the confidence of his quarterbacks. In the beginning of the year, we all remember, he throws Carson Wentz under the bus for the lack of offensive production. Then when Carson Wentz gets injured and Taylor Heinicke is in there, he says that Taylor Heinicke will only be the starter as long as he plays well. Doesn't he realize that destroys a quarterback's confidence? You can tell in the way that Taylor Heinicke was playing because he started to play too conservative and then he eventually gets benched. I blame Ron Rivera for that. Plus, I have a lot of respect for Taylor Heinicke as a quarterback. I like his, will, his drive, his passion for the game, and even though Ron Rivera is a decent head coach, he just did not handle his quarterback situation properly this year. So I'm grading him an F. Next, I have the Miami Dolphins, and we all know why. The Miami Dolphins has not handled Tua's health properly. We should have all known that Tua Tagovailoa was going through concussion-like symptoms when he played against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, some of the interceptions that he threw were just terrible. So if the Miami Dolphins do not take care of Tua's health, I do see Tua suing the Miami Dolphins organization. I mean, imagine if he gets an injury that's more severe that can get him paralyzed. When it comes to their backups, they did not play well in the beginning of the year. Teddy Bridgewater looks washed up, and Skylar Thompson is just a rookie. Next, I have the Denver Broncos.
No, we're not. Wilson throws off balance, picked off at the 4-yard line.
Need I say more? Never put all your eggs in one basket. Lastly, for the finale, the team that has handled their quarterback situation worse than any other team in the NFL this season is the Indianapolis Colts. And guess who I'm going to blame for all of their quarterbacks' failures? Jim Irsay. No, I'm not blaming Frank Reich. Frank Reich was the scapegoat, and I don't believe Frank Reich was that bad of a coach. I mean, Frank Reich did want to keep Carson Wentz, but Jim Irsay was not impressed with Carson Wentz. Jim Irsay has gotten too involved as an owner. He fires Frank Reich, then he hires Jeff Saturday, and Jeff Saturday has done a poor job, but what more do you expect from him? The only thing that made me extremely angry about Jeff Saturday is when Jeff Saturday got hired, he benched Sam Ehlinger. And Sam Ehlinger has played better than any Colts quarterback this season. I mean, he should have just kept Sam Ehlinger in as a starting quarterback. We already know that Matt Ryan is washed up. Nick Foles is washed up. I mean, he benches Sam Ehlinger, starts Matt Ryan, and then Matt Ryan plays poorly. Then he starts Nick Foles, and Nick Foles throws 3 interceptions in the last game. If you're a Colts fan, sorry. This team has to be reconstructed completely, and the owner has to stop getting so involved.